everyone. Welcome to the Siblings Roadmap to care for and support aging parents. And we're going to go through navigating legal, financial, and family challenges. So, Linda is my partner in crime, and together we are your nurse advocates consulting. So, Linda, say hello, and we're going to go ahead and get started.
Hello and welcome, everyone. We're glad that you joined us.
Okay. So, one of the things is we hope you received your workbook. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop the workbook in the chat. And if you did not receive that, everyone that registered would have gotten the workbook in an email. But we're going to go ahead and we will drop that in the chat if you have not gotten that. So I believe that's in there now. So we are good there. And there's a checklist on there in the very beginning, and it talks about, are you ready to take the next step in your caregiving journey? So go through that. And it's just kind of yes or no, asking you where you are in your journey with caring for your aging parents. And the goal of this webinar is to provide some education, replace some anxiety and confusion. For example, we got a new client this week, and the mom fell on a cruise ship, ended up in a Mexican hospital. They didn't find her fractured neck. She lived in Florida, got care in Kansas, trying to establish care in Kansas. So the family they just didn't know where to start. And that's where we can come in. And that's one of the things that we want to talk about during the webinar is just how we can help you be able to advocate for your loved one. Linda, is there anything you want to share?
That what you just described is got to be horrific for any family member to go through. And needing and using an advocate is probably their best way of getting the support and the help that they need, because I just can't imagine all the different care centers and being in another country, much less another state, trying to get care.
Yeah, and she had a Florida Medicare Advantage plan, so now she's in Kansas without a payer source to pay for
Hmm.
things. So we're trying to work with that. So
Yeah, and that can be a real problem.
so imagine, a situation like that where you had at least the knowledge or access to a patient advocate that can help, um, you know, reduce the stress and anxiety and be able to have and know what the resources, know what the questions to ask. Many times Linda and I find out that it's not what you know that causes issues, it's what you don't know. So welcome to a new chapter. After this masterclass today, you're going to have more insights and more information to help you better care for your aging loved ones. Linda, did you want to share anything on this slide?
Yes, a lot. I mean, we're all human beings, and human beings are innately reactive. So hopefully through this webinar, you'll find information so that you're proactive instead of reactive, and you're using what we would call emotional intelligence because you're armed with information and not just going from one emotion to another, trying to solve a problem that may be bigger than you actually think it is.
All right, so welcome to a new chapter, one that's filled with support, empowerment, and hope. All right, so we've kind of welcomed you. We've got some tools for those. We've got a couple extra tools that we put in to the masterclass today that will be some surprises. We'll get to those, but we are super glad you're here and ready to get the education you need to support your aging loved ones. So we're here, we're going to show you how you can go from feeling confused and unsupported in your caregiving role to be, confident and feel empowered, feel like at least if you don't know the answer, you know how to get the answer. Linda, did you want to add anything to that?
Information is power. Information is powerful. It's one of the most powerful tools that you can have. So hopefully being armed with resources and information will allow you to feel successful in caring for your aging parents.
And I think important too is you don't have to be alone on this journey. This is
Hmm.
your starting point to make your caregiving work much easier for you. So here's where we show up our show up live bonus. And for those of you that are joining us this evening, we have a special bonus for you if you stay with us till the end. And we have our folder. It is a guide and a checklist. It's a step-by-step guide to assemble it's an emergency to go folder. So for example, especially if you live away from your parents, and they have to go to the emergency room and maybe they're not able to not cognitively, or maybe they're too ill to have the thought process to pull all the things together. This is things that you can have in a folder, ready to go. The ambulance, the EMT can take it, the paramedic can take it, and it also goes over emergency. So it's a really nice guide. So for those of you that stay with us to the end, we will have that ready for you. So, our journey into caregiving, Linda, you want to go first and just share a little bit about your background?
My background is I am a registered nurse. I've been a nurse for a long time. I've had a diverse skill set of nursing from the emergency department to home health to hospice and then into leadership. But my true story is actually in caring for my aging parents. As the oldest of six siblings and a nurse, I was actually charged with being the person that would be in charge of their health care. And I became both of my parents' healthcare power of attorney. I was my mom's healthcare power of attorney for over 5 years until she recently passed. And I'm currently my father's healthcare power of attorney. And I can tell you, it can, at times, with six, of us siblings, we all have different thought processes. We're all adults, so we all have different beliefs and different things. We do have a strong value set that came from our parents, but yet some of the way we think and some of the things that are important are very different. Agendas are very different for each one of us. So it's difficult sometimes to walk that walk and make things cohesive. And sometimes you have to learn to agree to disagree. But getting to that place can be fraught with some frustration, as it was in my case. And we had quite a bit of frustration in the beginning until we all learned that we needed to work together and we all had our defined roles. I was the one that took care of their health care. My other sibling, who is a social worker, took care of a lot of the outside external resources, such as meals and shopping and making sure they went to vote because that was really important to them. Even though my mom was in hospice, she was still going to get out there and vote no matter what. And my dad, needed a lot of help with his dementia. So it can get very, very difficult when you have people all wanting to do good, but not sure how to communicate with each other. And we do have problems with communication, but we work through it. And I think family meetings are a good thing, different levels of communication and finding out how people communicate, when they communicate, and how they want to be communicated. And I think that is the biggest stumbling block in any type of journey in caregiving is the communication. I know in my professional career, and Pam, you can also attest to this, communication, it was always one of the biggest issues in, with each other internally, with staff, and then with our families and with doctors. It was always the biggest complaint was people didn't communicate. So if there's one thing I can impart about my story, and I'll continue as we go through this webinar and through the course, you'll hear more about my story, but I can tell you communication is one of the biggest issues and how people perceive the communication. And that sometimes it's not what you say, but it's how you say it or your lack of saying it or lack of transparency in providing that communication.
Linda. And with me, similar to Linda, 40 years in nursing, also emergency room, home health, hospice. And Linda took the leadership track. I did that for a short time, and that wasn't my cup of tea. So, went back into more the clinical role and ended my career in case management, which assisting in discharge planning and also utilization review, working with insurance companies, denials and authorization, all that good stuff. So together we
Ugh.
make a really good team.
Ugh.
Um, and we've got all the bases covered. And my caregiving journey is I just have recently lost my mother-in-law. Well, it'll be a year in April, and then my mom is still with us, and I am the oldest of five siblings. And I am the only one that is long distance. So I have a lot of experience of what people can do if you're a long distance from your loved one, and the things that you can do to help so you can be part of the team, and also so everyone else feels like you're contributing. And there are two healthcare providers. I'm a nurse. My sister, she's number three in line, is a nurse practitioner. So between the two of us, we kind of handle all the medical things. My sister is in finance and accounting. She is her financial power of attorney, pays her bills, makes sure that all of that is taken care of. And then bringing up the last two of the sibling group are my brothers, and one is in manufacturing, but he lives the closest. And bless his heart, if mom needs something right away, he's 5 minutes away and he will run over there. So, and then the youngest brother and my oldest son, they are in the construction fields. My son's a plumber, my brother's in carpentry, and so they take care of all the maintenance. And we have snow removal coming in, we have landscaping come in, we all contribute. We have a text chain, and everybody reminds each other, okay, whose turn to pay for what. So we kind of have a good system going. And again, Lynn and I will both talk about that as we move on. So, both Linda and I have shared our stories. I think, Linda, is there an aha moment when you decided that, when we decided to do our advocacy business, was there a one moment that kind of spoke to
Mhm.
you?
Yeah, I think my aha moment came when, when I, even in my leadership role, I have, I participate in a lot of care conferences and uh, staff meetings and work with a lot of different physicians. And we had a situation with an elder adult who was living alone, and she had a son that was disabled, that they kind of cared for each other, but it was difficult and they didn't have a lot of resources. And trying to get help for them, the medical field, somehow the doctors were just kind of like, well, she's older, it'll be fine, it'll be okay. And but what they didn't look at was that there was a lot more than just the medical that needed to be cared for. How was she going, who was going to help take care of her disabled son when she passed? What type of resources could they use, and do they need to be able to care for themselves? How could she get the medicine she needs? She didn't want to go to the hospitals anymore. So it was just that frustration of, there wasn't a lot of straight and narrow paths that these people could go to get what they needed. And I think a lot of our healthcare system, in a sense, dropped the ball in providing her care. And, she's 88 years old. So I just felt very frustrated and felt that, there's got to be a better way. Someone needs to advocate for her. Someone needs to advocate for her son. There has to be a way to move forward to give them what they need. So that was my aha moment, saying that, I can do more. I can be a better servant leader. I can help her by tapping into some of the resources that I know in my 40 years of nursing experience. There's got to be a way. So Pam and I talked about that, and Pam has her aha moment in regards to that. And then we came up with us.
Yeah, and my aha moment was, we had a church family member who actually, the wife was a very good friend of my mother-in-law, and she asked me to come over after church one time, and they hadn't been to church for a while, and that was unlike them. I mean, she would have Bible study at home and very involved in church. And she said she was getting forgetful, and the reason she wasn't going to church is because she was forgetting the names of people that she's known for years. She was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and she says, I need help, Pam, will you help me? And so that, she didn't have any children local. She became, her and her husband became the guardians of their two grandchildren, who are now 21 and 22. So now, you have this picture where she has Alzheimer's disease, she's forgetful, and her caretakers are these 22-year-old kids. And so over a 9-month period, she went very, very quickly from the time that she started noticing she was forgetful to when she went on hospice and couldn't speak any longer. And that it was only a short 9-month journey. But we had to put all kinds of interventions in place. I mean, she was taking, swallowing things she shouldn't. She was trying to escape out of windows. We had door locks. We had to lock up medications. She cut herself because she insisted on, doing the dishes. So we got all plastic utensils in there. So it was that case. And that thing is, you know what? I can't imagine anybody going through this kind of situation alone. So, Linda and I to get, decided that together, we wanted to have this advocacy business and help these aging adults and their families just meet their healthcare challenges. So we've talked about our expertise, so I don't think we need to hash that out much more. We are both very, very passionate about helping caregivers, and I love our seniors. I think, yeah, I love being able to give a voice to those that can't speak for themselves. So Linda, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I agree with you. I think our elders, our elderly population, I have a passion for caring for them. Some part of it is a personal agenda because I'm hoping that if I take really, really good care of elder people, that when I get old, somebody out there, someone will have some compassion for me and take really good care of me. So there's kind of a selfish little personal agenda with that. But I also look at it from the perspective of this is not okay. These are our elder people. They fought in the wars. They've given so much to us. They have such a level of wisdom, and they're the ones that built what we have. And we need to care for them. Our veterans, our older adults, people are living longer than they did years ago with their chronic illnesses. And we need to provide a voice for them because they're not the best historians. The world has changed very quickly. Technology has made that world change for them very quickly. So it's hard for them to pivot and make those changes to be able to understand what healthcare is and what their needs are in this ever-changing kind of broken healthcare system that we have.
And I just want to say, we're here to empower you. You and your family are truly the heroes in this scenario. You're the ones that are doing the labor of love. You're the ones that are concerned about your aging loved ones getting the best care. So we are your guides, and we are here to
Hmm.
guide you on your journey. But I just want to remind all of you that you truly are the heroes.
Hmm.
So we're here to help you. Like we said, we're not here just to teach you. We're here to empower you. So we've walked in your shoes. We've got tools for you, and we're going to talk about some of those tools and move you forward. Um, so as we go on, we just want to make sure that you're able to be attentive. Just, and I know I forget sometimes myself, turn off your cell phone, close unnecessary tabs, try and avoid multitasking. I know for some of you that's going to be really hard, and just try and create a quiet kind of focused space as we start to get into the nitty gritty here. So do you often feel overwhelmed and unsure if you're making the right caregiving decisions for your loved one? That's a common question. Linda, did you want to address that at all? Or as we move on, did you want to make a comment on this slide?
Yeah, it can be very difficult. And a lot of times as a caregiver, you're kind of, unsure of, is this the right way to go? Is this the right decision? Am I making the right decision for my mom and dad? Just know that you're asking these questions out of caring and love and wanting the best for your parents. So we're here to support those questions and support those answers. We're not here to do things for you. We're here to support and guide you. As advocates, we do not make decisions for you, but we help you get the resources you need so that you can make informed decisions, so that you know that you're making the right caregiving decisions for your loved one.
Question number two, are you struggling to balance caregiving with the other responsibilities in your life, like work, family, and self-care? Being part of the sandwich generation, I mean, that's a big part of the clients that we serve. So if you're in the sandwich generation, you are in the right place because we're hopefully going to give you some tools that you can use to help make that a little easier on you as well as your family and your spouse. Oftentimes it's the caregiving spouse that devotes a lot of time, and it's the other spouse that feels kind of neglected because you're devoting so much time,
Mhm.
to an aging parent. So you want to make sure that you're saving room for that. Linda, did you want to make a comment on this slide?
No, you answer that very well.
Okay. So clarity question number three, do you wish you had a clear and organized caregiving plan, but you don't know where to start? So if you feel like you can't keep the balls in the air, or you can't keep, keeping things straight and feeling overwhelmed, you're again in the right place. Linda, did you want to comment on this one?
Yeah, this is, this is sometimes hard. We all have multiple competing priorities and multiple levels of importance of things that we're doing. So having a clear and organized plan will help you feel less stressed and actually help you get a sigh of deep relief as you walk through it because you'll know you have a plan.
Okay, question number 4. Are you worried that you might not have all the tools or information you need to prepare for emergencies and meet your loved one's needs? If that comes up, again, you are in the right place, and many caregivers have this fear. Linda, did you want to comment on this one?
No,
Okay.
no.
All right, so we are here this evening to provide a path forward for you. And I know you've been waiting. Okay, let's get to the good. So here we go. All right, so you're in the right place if you're feeling overwhelmed. We touched base on that. You're in the right place if you're struggling to balance caregiving and your personal life. You're in the right place if you want to be prepared for emergencies, as we talked about. You're here because you care and you are taking a very good first important step. So let's take a look at these. So you may be here for many different reasons. So if you'd like, please put in the chat. I'd love to hear which one of these resonates most with you, and it'll also help guide our conversation today. So, which category would you put yourself in? 1, feeling overwhelmed, needing a caregiving plan, struggling to balance caregiving with personal life and siblings, or wanting to be better prepared for emergencies. So, Linda, would you like to comment on this before we continue?
Just that I fit into number 2.
Yeah, that's I think that's a very common bucket to
Yep,
put
I
ourselves
think it
in.
is for a lot of people.
So no matter what brought you here, we're gonna help you get started. So we'd like you to maybe identify 3 signs that you or your siblings may have noticed about your parents that give you cause for concern. This is really important because, in our 3-step process, you have to identify the needs, identify the resources that match the needs, and then put a plan in place that everyone can live with. So that first area that you need to focus on is what have you noticed, or what have your siblings noticed with your parents that might be some red flags? Linda, did you want to comment on this one?
Yeah, it sometimes the changes are very subtle. A lot of times if you're a sibling that lives out of town, when you come in for a visit, it might be more noticeable for you to identify things that give you concern. Whereas if you're living next door to mom and dad or in the neighborhood and you're there every week, the changes might be more subtle to you. So you just have to be aware of those very even subtle changes that you may not think are concerning, but actually are areas that you need to monitor.
So, today we're going to explore 3 key areas that your family needs to manage. We're going to look at legal and financial planning, navigating a healthcare system, which includes identifying those needs of your family members, and then strengthening the family collaboration and communication, which Linda had mentioned is really important in successful working together successfully. So let's go ahead and start with legal and financial planning. We're going to share with you how to overcome some confusion by managing some legal documents, financial responsibilities. Ask your loved one where these documents are. Maybe they have some documents already. If they do, it's important to start the conversation. And you may start the conversation by saying, you know what, we're hoping, we hate to talk about this. We hope nothing happens in the near future, but we never know what tomorrow will brings. We never know when the next healthcare crisis or emergency might come up. Mom, Dad, have you put anything in writing? Do you have any wishes, anything documented? And just start with there. And if they do, ask them where they have them, and just, start reviewing them. You can't expect to have an hour-long conversation with your parents and get all of this ironed out, because they're going to shut down and they're not going to want to talk about it, because how many people want to sit, at the dinner table on a Sunday and talk about end of life and talk about getting your affairs in order? It's not the best conversation. So we're going to share some steps. And
Definitely is not.
yes. So, Linda, anything you want to say in general about legal and financial planning?
And not just that as Pam said, it's an extremely important step, and you can't really understand what your parents' needs are unless you understand what their wishes are.
And I will make one last statement on this. If you can get this right in the beginning, and we know sometimes parents aren't willing to do it, but if you can get this right in the beginning with the documentation, Linda and I can both guarantee that it will make the caregiving decisions a lot easier because as siblings and family members, you won't have to argue about what decisions need to be made. All you have to do is agree to follow your parents' wishes. And Linda will share in a little bit as that comes up. And that's not always the case, but that is the ideal. So this is why we start with legal and financial planning first. Let's go back to the legal and financial planning real quick. Um, so when we talk about legal and financial planning, we're talking about estate planning. What happens to the house? What happens to any retirement funds that are left? What happens to the assets, the car, anything that they have, any personal property, jewelry? I mean, what happens to those things? And who's responsible to oversee them? So an estate planning attorney or an elder law attorney is an essential professional to have if you feel, to get these things in writing and get these things settled. Financial planning is, have the conversation with your loved one. Where do they want to live out their golden years? Do they want to try and stay at home as long as possible? Do they want to go to some of our aging parents are very social. Maybe they want to go to a senior community, an independent apartment, or maybe assisted living. And what if they can't remain, independent? Always talk about that plan B. If you cannot stay where you want to stay, where would you be willing to go? And have those conversations, because once you have that conversation, you now know with the financial planning and with your financial planner, you can now look at how are you going to afford that. One of the top trends for 2025 that we've been talking about is the fact that in 5 years, 2030, every single baby boomer is going to be 65 years of age or older. Assisted livings, nursing homes, senior housing is going to have a shortage, and many people that are finding are not going to be able to afford them because most of them, like your assisted livings, are private pay. They can cost, thousands. And I'll ask Linda to talk a little bit about that. But you have to make sure you know how you're going to fund your lifestyle. And if there's a chance, for Medicaid that you may need that may come up as well. Linda, anything you want to mention on the legal or the financial planning?
Yes, when it comes to levels or levels of care, if your loved one cannot stay at home anymore and you need to make choices in regards to, where is the best place for them, an assisted living provides a certain level of care. They have different levels that they, are assigned to under their licensure, but a lot of them can cost quite a bit of money. Some of them can range anywhere depending on the amount of care that is needed. They have levels of care, tiers they call them. And that care can run anywhere from $6,000 a month up to $12,000 a month. So it is not something that is inexpensive. And you also have to look at, is this the right place for mom and dad? Does it meet their social needs? Does it meet their healthcare needs? And how are they going to afford it? Because even if you have a lot of money set aside, if you're paying $10 or $12,000 a month for assisted living, that can eat into those savings quite significantly very quickly. And if they need a higher level of care, and we're talking skilled care, that can run after rehab, and you have to privately pay for that. That can run anywhere from 15 to up to $19,000 per month.
Yeah, and there's a lot of nuances too. Some assisted livings, I mean, they won't take someone who has Medicaid out of the
Mhm.
get-go. You have to private pay maybe for several months before they would consider, accepting Medicaid payment, or some assisted livings may not take it at all. So there's a lot of planning that goes into this process. And
Mhm.
So in your workbook, there's a place for you to jot down some notes as far as maybe some of the things that are already been done, or what are some things that as a family you want your aging parents to look into. So next we'll tackle navigating some healthcare. And this is where, we talk about identifying the needs. And again, you don't know where to start if you don't know what the issues are. And like Linda said, they can be subtle at times. For example, maybe your mom is the one that pays the bills and she's pays all the bills on time or ahead of time. They're never late. And you go over to the house a couple of times and you see bills kind of, strewed out over the dining room table and kind of looks disarray, and you say, Mom, when was the last time you paid your bills? And she says, Well, I think I got them all. Little things like that can be the beginning things that should be noticed. So, because then you know that maybe it's time to step in and start taking a more active role into caring for your patients or your parents. A fall, missing medications. Maybe you go to the house and you see that their pill caddy is they missed a day, or they've missed a couple of days, or they took the mornings but they didn't take the nights. So those are some of the things that to look for. Linda, would you like to add to some of these things?
Yeah, just overall basic house maintenance, mowing the lawn or taking out the garbage or washing the dishes or grocery shopping. If there's not, if there, the normal was that the house always had a lot of food in the refrigerator, and now you're seeing things that are spoiled in the refrigerator or not, have not been eaten, or they haven't shopped for a while. And another key indicator is if they have a pet. Has that pet been fed? Is there water in the pet bowl? Is there food in the pet bowl? Because a lot of times those things are kind of left off to the side and you're not really sure, but those types of things are key indicators that there might be something that is going on that's going to need to be monitored and handled by other family members. And household maintenance is very basic. If you come from a household where it was always a little chaotic and things were always in a little bit of disarray, and that's fine. But if you see that it's in more disarray and you see that things that basically were done all the time, like taking out the garbage, is not being done, those are signs for concern.
Yeah, and one last thing that I want to mention too is another subtle thing that you may not think of, but just, maybe one of your parents look like they might be losing weight. Maybe their clothes look a little
Mm.
looser than they did before. And unexplained weight loss could be a lot of issues. And it just could be as simple as the fact that maybe they're having trouble preparing meals and they're just not eating the way they should. So, any kind of weight loss that you're noticing could also be a sign that they may need some help in the home. So let's talk a little bit about family collaboration. And before we get into that, when you're looking at, as like we said, the three-step process, identify the needs, look at the different resources, and that's one of the things that we should probably spend a couple minutes on before we move into family collaboration. Is that when depending on the resources or depending on the needs, how do you know what resources to go? Now, what Linda and I like to share with everybody, our number one go-to resource is we point everybody to their county center of aging, their county aging and disability resource, their county senior resource center. Every county in every state in the United States has a government agency that handles aging adults. They may have different names. If you're unsure of what it may be called in your community, you can reach out to the health department. They would know. You could ask to speak to the social worker that works at the clinic where your parents go to the doctor. They can help you, but that is the first place to start. They are also the resource and help you can determine, like, if you need Meals on Wheels. They can help determine if you would qualify for Medicaid. They have a process for that. And this is the first place that we usually send everyone. And it's once they get through there and see what they qualify for, what they can get and what they not, can get, then that's usually then when Linda and I can step in and we need to look at some other resources. Linda, would you like to say anything more about resources before we move on?
No, I think you covered it really well. The ADRC is usually the first step because they can actually let you know what you qualify for, what you don't qualify for. And they usually have a vast array of different programs and resources that you can tap into. And a lot of it, though, is income based. So you do need to remember that as you go to your ADRC.
Let's finally let's get into focus on strengthening and family collaboration. And again, communication, communication, communication. So that is going to be the most important thing that we're going to stress when it comes to working with your family. All right, so let's go on. We talked about the legal and financial planning. I think we've addressed pretty much everything there.
Mhm.
And we talked about wills. There are wills. I think it's important when you meet with the estate planning attorney that you look at the difference between wills and trusts and gifts. Linda and I are not attorneys, so we can't advise on that, but we can tell you the things to ask for. And depending on your situation, one of these things may work for you. We talked about budgeting for caregiving expenses. Uh, we talked about, having your healthcare power of attorney set up. Again, the whole point of having these set up is that you don't have to worry about how you're going to or what decisions need to be made in a
Mhm.
crisis. Things are done up front. So when you have these tools in place, you're prepared and you have clarity and the direction on what to go is clear. Lynn, is there anything you'd like to add to this?
No, no, you did well.
All right. So what is the cost of avoiding planning? And I think this is the most challenging thing for Linda and I is
Mhm.
because we know that families need help, but they don't know that they need help sometimes because they don't know what they don't know. And so we thought we'd put this in there. What is the cost of avoiding planning? Now, Linda, I'm going to let Linda talk about this slide because she knows firsthand what can happen when the planning is not in place. So, Linda, why don't you talk a little bit about this one?
Yes, these three challenges basically fit my family, my parents, like a T. Um, my mom always believed that by setting up a will or an advance directive, that it was superstitious and it was going to bring bad luck and that things were going to happen. So they were just going to figure it out later because they didn't need to do it right now. They weren't going to die tomorrow, so it could wait, and it was always going to bring bad luck. The reality, though, was that when my mother fractured her hip, this became a reactive situation because the resources were not set up for her after she fractured her hip. We didn't know we didn't even know a good medical history on her because she avoided going to the doctor for so long that we didn't even really know who her doctor was, what she needed in regards to figuring out, if something happened to her from having the surgery, where things were, where her assets were. My dad, with his beginning dementia at that time, really wasn't up to date on where the assets were located because he kept saying, "Well, we moved it over to another advisor." I said, "Well, what is the advisor saying?" "Well, I don't remember. It's somewhere in the house somewhere. Your mother's got it." Well, Ma really wasn't able to let us know what was needed. So we couldn't even find her social security card because she had placed it somewhere where my dad didn't know and she didn't have it. And because she did not go to doctors and hospitals, there wasn't a lot of, we couldn't find a lot of the information that we needed to be able to provide proactive care. So a lot of her care was reactive.
Yep.
So,
Oh, go ahead, Linda.
so essentially what we learned from that is that we were not going to make that same mistake with my dad. We wanted to make sure that things were taken care of before we became reactive. So we took care of my mom's situation. Things got settled, and we made sure that with my dad, we knew where all of his information was. We knew what his bank account numbers were. We knew what his social was. We knew what his medications were. We knew who his doctors were, and we were able to deal with any situation coming up with my dad better. But it was through my mother's reactive issues with her fracture of her hip that we learned that we couldn't do that again with my dad. And this avoidance of planning only adds stress to the situation, stress to the siblings because everybody's trying to scramble, trying to figure things out. The communication gets rushed, and it's really not a good way of dealing with providing that best support that they need because you're in a reactive emotional situation instead of an informed situation.
Yep, and so yeah, we want to say, by facing these issues head on, you really do set yourself up and your loved ones for success. So, practical steps you can take today. We talked about start the conversation, organize the documents, consult the professionals, your elder care attorney or your estate planning attorney, your financial advisors, and just begin with a small step. Create a list of, current expenses or book a consultation. It's with one of the professionals. It's less overwhelming when it's just broken down into manageable pieces. So next, pillar two, navigating healthcare and identifying needs. We spent quite a bit of time on that. Linda, is there anything else that you'd like to add to navigating the healthcare system and needs? We talked about the ADRC as the very first place, rather than to give you a laundry list of things. That's
Mhm,
the first place to start because they're going to know all of your resources in your county and in
mhm,
your community.
mhm. Yeah, and it can be very overwhelming, and that's where Pam and I can help because we've been there, done it, and have figured out a lot of these resources that you can tap into and that we can help you navigate as you learn more about what your parents' needs are.
So we talk about some of the challenges: confusion, uncertainty, advocacy. Many caregivers feel unsure how to speak up, for their aging loved ones. So those are some of the challenges. And so some of the things you can do is for, trying to navigate the healthcare system, maybe create a journal, track your loved one's symptoms, medications. We do have, and we'll put in the chat, we do have a prep, and this is one of our surprises for you. This is just our uh, guide or our checklist, just a one-page kind of fill in the blank, getting prepared to go to the doctor's appointment. So write down questions, make sure that you have current medications, and prepare for the appointments, whether it's virtual or in person. Make sure that you fill out that form or just write down questions and concerns ahead of time to make up the most out of your medical visits. We all know what it's like for the doctor to rush in, check you, and then everything happens so quickly that you can forget. But if you've got that piece of paper in front of you to remind you about the questions they ask, you've got that doctor for such a short period of time. So take advantage of that. Anything, Linda, you'd want to add to that?
No, I was just going to state that a lot of the average appointment lasts about 10 to 15 minutes. So you really don't have a lot of time. So you really do need to be prepared.
Absolutely. And here I just wanted to share another real quick story. Another client of ours fell in the shower, fractured her ankle. She went in the hospital. She thought she was just going to be there for, an overnight stay, getting her ankle repaired. Well, 3 days in, pneumonia, a week in, she finds herself in intensive care, in respiratory failure, on a breathing tube, on a ventilator. She spent 30 days in the hospital. Now she's in rehab, coming home this week. But all of this was unexpected. And so we were able to come by along the family and be able to prepare for them, speak with the doctors, even while she was in the hospital, and make sure that everything, they weren't aware of her prior medications or prior fluid restrictions. The ICU didn't see the order from the orthopedic doctor that the boot was going to stay on. The boot was off. She started to get a foot drop, or her foot was going down. The doctor had to pull it back up. I mean, all the doctors were doing what they needed to do in their lane, but nobody was keeping all the balls in the air and keeping everybody informed. So it can be really, really challenging. We talked about identifying the evolving needs of your parents. Talk to them, ask them, how are they going? Now, a lot of times they're going to tell you everything's fine. So you
Mhm.
kind of have to put your,
Detective hat.
investigative, yes, yes, because, you're gonna have to just look for things because they're probably not gonna volunteer much. Linda, did you want to add anything to this one?
Oh, yeah, they don't volunteer much. It is like pulling teeth with a lot of elders. Some of our clients, I've had a client that loved her dearly. I mean, took care of her through her end stages of life and helped her into hospice. But I can tell you, when I used to go over there and I would ask her, "How are you doing?" "Oh, I'm fine," even though her breathing was terribly labored and we had to adjust her oxygen. "Oh, well, I'm fine. I'm absolutely fine. You don't have to worry about me." And that was the same thing she kept telling her daughter until she finally realized that, it wasn't working anymore. And we could definitely see that there was a shift in her needs.
All right, so we want to help build your confidence as a caregiver. So imagine stepping into every healthcare decision with clarity and confidence, feeling prepared. You have the ability to advocate for your loved one. How would that feel for you? We hope that would make you feel pretty good.
Hmm.
So lastly, pillar three is strengthening family collaboration and communication. This is probably the biggest area or the easiest area to fix, that doesn't require a lot of medical knowledge, but it does take work. So, there's collaboration, there's coordination, there's keeping others informed. There's nothing worse than an out of town family member feeling that they're left out of the loop because they never know what's going on. So a lot of challenges here. Linda, did you want to add anything to this slide?
No, actually, communication and collaboration is really important. Sometimes setting up a family thread via email or text is appropriate, a calendar, all those things help with that communication and collaboration.
And we talked about one of the biggest conflicts arise about decision making. And if you remember what we said earlier, if you take care of the getting the affairs in order first, then this doesn't become as big an issue. But Linda and I mean, we're partners and probably not, I mean, we know each other, so we know we have similar beliefs on like an end of life cares and things like that. But maybe your siblings, don't. Maybe somebody believes in hospice, somebody doesn't. Somebody wants everything done, and Linda has a personal experience on that. So there are a lot of reasons why there could be conflict. But again, if you agree to follow the wishes of your parents and those wishes are laid out, these challenges sometimes are minor versus major. Linda, did you want to comment on this one?
Yeah, it's very important to make sure that you understand what their wishes are, because when you don't know what their wishes are or they're not open to discussing those with you and something does happen and it becomes a reactive nature, it does cause some conflict because everybody has these differing opinions because nobody really knows what that individual's wants are. And that's why it's so important to make sure that you have these discussions with them and what their wishes are.
And our last surprise bonus, I know for those of you that stayed in the end, we have our state of the end bonus, but we have one more surprise for you, and that we will drop that in the chat. And that is our family meeting agenda. It is just a template and a guide that talks about, what do you talk about at a family meeting? How do you, what do you go over with care? So we're happy to drop that in there for you as well. So here are some strategies for better family collaboration. Um I'm gonna let Linda talk a little bit about this because she's had probably the most challenges and has developed more workarounds. But some of the strategies, I mean, it's good for everyone. Again, communication, family, text. Our family, we have a family text chain. We also have a family Facebook page. So family Facebook page is more fun, because nieces and nephews and cousins and grandkids are all on that. But our text chain is just the five siblings, and we use that text chain just to keep each other informed about what's going on. And even if it's something little, oh, mom wants to order out Chinese, so and so is paying for it, and it just keeps everybody in the loop, whether it's a big thing, a health thing, or just a little thing like that. We all keep each other in the loop. Linda.
That's something that I think we have a family text chain, and we text each other with updates in regards to what's going on. I always, as my dad's healthcare power of attorney, I actually put in as the fiduciary for that. I make sure that there are updates, at least weekly on what's going on with dad, especially for my out of town siblings who worry about my dad but don't have the opportunity to be here all the time. So it's important for them to know that dad is being cared for well. Responsibilities and updates. A lot of times there is, there are people, when you have large families, there's always people that have, their own agendas or are on power trips or are totally missing in action because they can't handle the stresses or the fact that mom and dad are declining or they're ill and can't emotionally process this. So hosting regular family meetings, supporting each other is really important, but a lot of times, things do fall through the cracks and people do have their individual agendas, and that's normal. I mean, we're all individuals, we're all human beings, and a lot of times family members don't always agree on things, but you have to work through it, and working through it through Zoom meetings, on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, family text. And I think what has worked for our family the best is the family text with just the siblings on it. There's no spouses, there's no grandkids, it's just the siblings, because these decisions are related to our parents, and those decisions are ours to make together in their best interest. So we have found that keeping that text alive and keeping updates in there is important. Texts go out in regards to who's visiting dad on what day. Is somebody bringing dad something to eat? Does dad need new socks? Does he need new pants? What kinds of things are going on with him? So it's a lot of information, but it also keeps people informed. Again, not everybody participates all the time. Not everybody always says thank you all the time when somebody goes out of their way to do something. So you always have to remember that you have to be positive. And that's one of the things that I try to do on the text, is try to say thank you, or I appreciate what you're doing. Thanks, that was great. Dad enjoyed that. Because it's important that people know what they're doing is good, and that they're supporting their dad or your parents as best as they can in any way that they can. Negative comments, negative threads, negative talk, or a lack of response is people's perception is their reality. So they feel that they're not necessarily appreciated in what they're doing. So always make sure that you're aware of how people are perceiving what you're putting out there on these texts or in these emails, or however you decide to communicate with your family in regards to collaboration and communication.
Yeah, and just be respectful. Just, if you have to agree to disagree, do it respectfully, and
Mm-hmm.
then work it out. And last thing I want to mention on this one is zone of genius. Not every sibling, not every person is cut out to take mom to the bathroom and wipe her bottom or wash her up, or, I know my brothers would not want to do that with our mom. So, everybody has their strengths and everybody can contribute, but it may be a little differently than someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So consider, your sibling zone of genius. We talked about communication, communication, communication. Again, resolve conflicts early by focusing on solutions instead of blame. You could spend hours talking about what happened yesterday, but okay, so we are today. What does it look like
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow? How do we move forward? Linda, did you want to say anything on this slide?
Yeah, a lot of times if you don't communicate well, conflicts can arise very inadvertently because of people's perceptions of what's being said or what's not being said. So, having that open communication to resolve conflicts early really does help keep the caregiving role easier to deal with, because caregiving is very, very difficult in all its aspects. And you really don't want to blame, you want to come up with the solution. So, yes, this stuff happened and we can hash it out for the next 3 years. But as Pam said, what's the solution? How are we as a family going to deal with this? And how are we going to take care of it in our parents' best interest?
So, in all, everything we talked about for the last few slides is leading us to a unified family makes all the difference in the world. So, you just want to do your best to work together, resolve challenges, and support each other. And one of the things too is take, if it's been a stressful period of time or you're getting through an illness with your parent, you know, take it, go out, go to dinner, go bowling, go whatever you like to do, go to the bar. I mean, whatever it is, have some kind of outing with your family members and just put caregiving off the table. Make sure that
Mhm.
you find a way to be able to salvage your relationships as siblings during this caregiving process. Linda, did you want to add anything?
Yeah, it's really important that you do that. I noticed a difference when my one sister came in from Florida, and her and my other sister and her husband and my husband and I, we all went out to dinner. It was such a relief just to talk about other things other than, what does dad need tomorrow? And, are we going to make sure that these things are working? So it was just a nice, it kind of helps you bond your family. So it's really important that you set aside time to take care of you and your families along with your siblings because you are still family.
Absolutely. So here's the good news. You don't have to do this alone and you don't have to rely on trial and error. This is, I think, the best part, and we're really, really excited to share this with you. We've got our course. It's called The Complete Siblings Guide to Caring for Your Aging Parents, and it's going to provide the entire roadmap that you need from start to finish. These next few minutes, we're going to talk about what the course is all about. And for those of you that would really like to get in and get some help and have some one-on-one time to discuss your particular family situation, hang on. We're going to tell you all the details. So here we go. So we want to, as we move forward, we want to just touch base on a couple things. Remember, we've been talking about you don't know what you don't know, and that's becomes the biggest frustration for Lynn and I because we can't. That's something that we can't do for you. We can't determine what you don't know, and so don't make the mistake of thinking you've got everything you need to move forward on your own. And it's easy to feel confident after learning a few of our strategies that we talked about today. But caregiving is always ongoing and evolving. So, you know, if you're one of those, do it yourself people that you're going to figure out as you go along, we still support you and we're still here if you want to reach out for us at any point. But otherwise, if you like to get information, you like to be prepared, and get some education along, then this may be for you. So can you imagine confidently handling every caregiving challenge that comes your way, knowing that you've got a clear plan in place? I can assure you that 100% of the time that's probably not going to be true, but we can raise those odds, and we can help you wake up each day feeling empowered, prepared, and feeling like you feel confident that whatever happens today we can handle. And I think that would feel good, wouldn't it? Linda, would you like to add anything to this?
No, actually, it's true. It's true. Having a plan is the best.
Yes. And, think about family meetings turning into constructive, supportive conversations. You know, you don't want that family meeting that goes on for an hour and a half and everybody's complaining and everything. You'd like a half an hour conversation where, yeah, Sally's doing this, Joe's doing this, Ma had her doctor appointment today, and this is what happened. Things are going well, and boom, boom, boom. And then everybody knows what's going on, and everybody walks away feeling, oh, I feel good about what I learned. So that's what we want to help you do. And can you imagine, walking your parents' medical appointments feeling confident and prepared, and having the tools to be able to understand the language, understand the treatment plan, know the right questions to ask, leave with the right answer, and knowing that your decisions feel more manageable because, you've had the tools and the education. Linda, is there something you want to add to this slide?
No, no,
Okay.
it says it all.
All right. And so let's imagine, no more last minute scrambling or unexpected surprises. You'll have the confidence that the future and yours are secure. And, and it's not a dream. It's like, we don't want you to say, oh my gosh, what do we do now? We want to say, okay, we've got this. Let's think about it. We were told what to do in this. Let's move forward. We've got this. And that's what our goal is for you. So, what would your life look like if you had the roadmap to achieve all of this and more? And so, all of this we're telling you is within your reach, and we're going to share a little bit about how you can get that and what our course is all about. So what about 3 months from now, you're feeling really calm, supported, and in control? That would feel good, I'm sure, for all of you. Do you see that when you have a clear plan for legal financial matters, being able to navigate the healthcare setting and working with your family, can you see how maybe caregiving for your aging loved ones might be more of a um it won't always be enjoyable, but more fulfilling than it is frustrating. Linda, so something you want to add with that? How does it feel now that things have improved with your siblings? What difference has that made now with the care of your dad?
I can be, what's interesting is that I can be the daughter. Um, it it allows me time to be more of, to spend more quality time with my dad than more reactive time trying to figure out what, appointment is coming up, who's going to take care of this, how is his meds going to be dealt with, where are we going to go for this, how are we going to deal with this. I have a better, my dad is not going to be around forever. He's 92. And, I see him declining. As a nurse, I see him declining. And to be able to spend time with him now in a quality way instead of just a quantity way, dealing with his caregiving needs, really is, it's priceless. It truly is priceless.
So everything we've covered today works together to help reduce stress, build stronger family connections, and empower you to provide the best care possible. And the end result is what we want for you is to gain peace of mind and confidence in every way. So now imagine having the complete roadmap. There's no way in this amount of time on this masterclass that we could share everything. We've kind of just touched the tip of the iceberg. And so we've created this course for you to be able, for those of you that want to do a deep dive into getting a great handle on this and really get into what we've again just kind of touched the surface with here this evening. So one last question. Would you like us to help you transform caregiving into a smoother, more rewarding experience for both of you and your family? And so what would it be if you had, again, the tools, the strategies, and the confidence? If your answer is yes to those things, we'd love to show you how we can make that happen with our course. So you've already, if you're ready to take the stress out, again, like we mentioned before, you are truly the hero and we are just your guide. So the Complete Siblings Guide to Caring for Your Aging Parents, it's a comprehensive roadmap. We've got tools, and I see a typo in this slide, so I'll have to fix that. But get the tools, the guidance, and support you need, and we're going to get into all those details. Our course promise is that you'll work together seamlessly with your siblings. Maybe not seamless 100% of the time. We're all humans. And we don't want to say that everything's going to be, wine and roses, because we know that's not going to happen, but we want to give you the tools to deal with it and be able to overcome that and overcome the challenges with insights. We want you to feel supported every step of the way. We're going to have one-on-one coaching. What does that mean? You're going to have 2 opportunities with Linda and myself to discuss your particular family situation. So you'll get one-on-one with us twice during the course. You're going to come out with a care plan. We're going to review your plan of care. And so you're going to have a lot of Linda and I to be able to help you with your family. So I want you to think about, just real quick, why are you here? Why did you want to get on this master class? And think about that for a moment. So think about where you want to be. What is the end result? You're here because, it's important for you to get the best care possible for your aging loved one, but you also want to be able to devote time to your family. You want to avoid those sleepless nights. You're not alone, and today is about finding real solutions. So are you here because you want to unite your family better? You want a more smooth family way of being able to share the caregiving together and not have one feel like they're doing more of the work than someone else, and you're tired, maybe you're tired of carrying that on your shoulders. Linda, is there anything you want to add to this one?
Yeah, it can be tiresome. It can be very overwhelming, as the oldest and the nurse and, caring for both of my parents. And I did shoulder a lot of the, caregiving responsibility with them. It can feel very, very overwhelming at times, and you feel a lot of times like you've neglected yourself and your family. So, I've worked through those things, and it's a lot more solidified now. And again, as I said, I can now be the daughter.
So we talked about you wouldn't be here if you didn't want your parents' needs to be met and you weren't concerned about their well-being. But time is slipping away. Like again, we never know when that next healthcare emergency, the older our parents get. My mom's 85 now, and I keep thinking, okay, what's next? She just had an injection because her rheumatoid arthritis, she's having trouble walking. She fell last week. Okay, so where are we going? So um time is of the essence here to be able to manage that and manage that successfully. So you've come here today to find clarity and solutions because your parents deserve the best care. And you're here too because you know that all you need is a little support. Again, you're the hero, we're the guide. We're here to point you in the right direction, share what your options are, and help educate you so that you can make the best decisions for your parents. Linda, anything you'd like to say on this one?
We are truly here as your advocates to help you and guide you. We're not going to be making decisions for you, but we will help, support you and provide you with resources to help you care for your parents.
So quickly here, we want to skip the anxiety and confusion. I think we've talked quite a bit about that. All the endless to-do list, conflicting priorities. We want to help you reduce those and reduce the overwhelm. We want to help you avoid those miscommunications that can occur when you don't have a united front, and so we can help you foster productive conversations with your family and skip the costly mistakes. There is another typo. I apologize for that. I don't know how many times I've gone through these slides too. So just let us know that Linda and I are not perfect either. So
That's right.
um, but our course is going to teach you how to make informed, confident decisions, and that's what's most important. So this is kind of what the roadmap looks like. This is kind of Linda and I both kind of like this slide. We like this little roadmap, and these are
Mhm.
some of the modules that I know you probably can't see it real well here, but these are the things that we're going to address, and we're going to let you know what all the modules are. So we're going to navigate medical, legal, and financial decisions. We're going to talk to those more in depth. We're going to talk about advanced directives more in depth. We're going to talk about what your choices are in helping your parents plan advanced directives. Again, there's not enough time tonight for us to really get into all those details and get all your questions answered. And we realize that that's why we've put our course together for you. Module 1, getting your affairs in order, legal and financial. The deep dive, equip families with the knowledge to handle legal and financial matters efficiently. This is where we're going to go into DNR. We're going to go into advanced directives. We're going to go into much more detail on this. What are POAs? How do you activate your power of attorney for healthcare? Is it activated when you sign them? There's a lot of misconceptions about that we're going to have time to discuss in the course. Module 2 is healthcare management and advocacy. We're going to talk about families managing the healthcare needs. We're going to go into more depth. We're going to have a checklist for you of all the different things that you want to, can run through to see if you notice any changes in their medical condition. We're going to talk about transitions in care. How do you avoid mistakes from going from home to the hospital to the nursing home, back home again? How do you avoid the mistakes that occur during those transitions? We mentioned a few errors that were occurring, and that was when our client was right in the hospital. It was before she even got to the nursing home. There was mistakes and things that were going on in the hospital, so we will have time to address those. Where module 3 is understanding family dynamics and roles. We're going to go more into a deep dive, mapping family roles. We're going to help you look at a zone of geniuses, what your sibling relationships are. Linda did a great job, and one of the things she does well in this section is talking about what does it mean? What does your birth order have to do with how your relationships with your siblings are? Are you the oldest? Are you the middle? Are you the youngest? Believe it or not, these things make a big difference. And something that you did younger, something that happened when you were kids could carry over into your adult life and into sharing the caregiving role. Linda, is there something you want to mention on module 3 before we move on?
It is it's quite interesting when I studied that, and I studied birth order, and it really is true on how birth order can affect your role and responsibilities and how you relate to each other and how you provide care to your parents.
Module 4, effective communication strategies. We've been talked about how important it is. We've given you a few nuggets today. We wanted to give you some action items to be able to take away with during the free masterclass, but we're going to go into more deep diving into what is active listening, family meetings. We're going to go talk to that more in depth. What are some communication strategies, transparency tools? Again, we're really going to get into a deep dive. Module 5 is conflict resolution and problem solving. We actually will have some guest speakers throughout our course. We have one of our guest speakers will be Anna Slayback. She is a psychotherapist. She's a mental health counselor, and she's going to do a little talk for us on conflict resolutions and some techniques to reduce conflicts and keys for some problem solving. So that will be for module 5. Number 6 is huge, emotional support and self-care. And Linda is I admire her. She's getting her nails done or she's getting a massage, and she realizes how important that is. So we're gonna Linda, you want to talk a
Mhm.
little bit? We're gonna
I
about
am a
self-care.
strong believer in self-care because if you don't take care of yourself, how can you be expected to care for someone else? And that has been my mantra for a long time. That is, manicures, pedicures, massages, acupuncture, cupping, all of those things are in my wheelhouse that I use for self-care. And it really does help because you cannot care for others. Think of an airplane. What do they tell you? When the oxygen mask comes down, put yours on first before you put on the person next to you or your child, because you have to be able to care for yourself before you can care for others.
Absolutely, because you cannot give from an empty cup.
That's right.
Module 7, and this actually uh is the planning for the future, and it is the plan, putting together a plan that everyone can live with. And so with all of these modules and all these tools and all these videos and handouts, workbooks, all the things that we have, it puts the total value of the course at $3,000. And so what we've broken it down for you. We have, to try and make it affordable for everyone, we broke it into two types. We have the do-it-yourself course for $497. That is, you get all the modules, you get all the handouts, the videos, but it is not instructor led. So you don't get the Q&A, the live Q&A sessions, excuse me, and you don't get the one-on-one individual sessions with you regarding your family. Now, the other option is our VIP option, which is the do it with you, and that's $997, which includes, we've got the live Q&A, we've got instructor-led guidance, we've got your 2 personalized consultations to review your care plan and your unique situation. And so these are our 2 options for what the course, your investment will be for the course. And I know what you're thinking, what if you need more expert on other senior care topics? Well, we have got an awesome bonus for you. We did for 2024, excuse me, I'm taking a drink of water here. For 2024, we put together a video series of 34 videos and 32 speakers on all things senior care. We've got doctors and nurses and therapists and financial planners. We've got an estate planning attorney. We have all the topics, decluttering, how do you move someone? We've got all the topics covered. You have them for the life of the course, and which, as long as Linda and I are practicing, there is going to be access. And if for some reason
Yes.
it comes to when we're done, we will give you notice and you'll be able to download anything that you like. But so more or less, you have this library at your fingertips. You may not need all 34 videos now, but you have access to, if something comes up, you can go to that library. So that is one of the bonuses for you for joining us on our course. And so we talked about the Senior Care Summit, and that is our first bonus. And that is a $197 value. We do offer that. People can purchase that outright, but we're including that as a bonus in for our course as we launch. Bonus number 2 is I know what you're thinking. What if you need to choose a nursing home and don't know where to start, or an assisted living? How do you know what to choose? Well, there's our bonus number 2. We've got a nice PDF guide and checklist on how to choose a nursing home or assisted living, and we've got videos that go with that. So again, a little bit kind of the extras, like the resources we want to be able to provide as bonuses for you to enhance the course. And this is a $249 value, and it is a comprehensive guide. Again, it's a checklist and a guide. And what we mean by that is there's a fill in the blank, there's a checklist, but there's also a guide that explains the whole process and actually how to, what you need to do to make the best choices. And bonus number 3, this is, I think, a great bonus. Now, if this bonus number 3 is only for those that may consider the VIP or the do it with you option, that's the $9.97 option where you have the live Q&A, the individual one-on-one sections. We are giving you what we call the family one pay bonus. And what that is that for that $9.97, what you can do is no matter how many family members are involved in caring for your aging loved one, if at the time of registration with the course or shortly thereafter within a day or so, and you'll get a reminder email about that, if you list the names and the email addresses of those family members that are actually participating in the care of your loved one, and you've got until the course between registration and course registration closing by March 26th when we launch, to provide those names and email address, we will allow you to, however you want to divide the course. I mean, someone's going to have to pay for the course, but however your family wants to choose it. But what we will do for that one payment of $9.97, we will allow every single family member that you've shared with us to get access to all the materials, just like they would have paid for the course themselves, and they will get access to everything that we talk about for the course. So here's what's included. You get the course, you get the 7-module program, you get all the tools, the strategies, videos, workbooks. We have so many tools for you. There will be an enormous amount. Talked about the Senior Care Summit, how to choose a nursing home as your second bonus, the family one pay bonus. So total value of the program, including the bonuses, is well over, $3,500. But again, you have the 2 choices. You have the $497 for the do it yourself, where you get all the written materials, and then you have the $997, which is the do it with you, which includes all the live Q&A. So instead of that, again, it's $497 for the do it yourself, $997 for the do it with you, because your family deserves the tools to take care of your loved ones. Whichever one works best for you, it is up to you. We wanted to give you those 2 options depending on the way how you learn and how you want to handle caring for your aging loved ones. So we want you to choose the payment plan that works best for you. We do have payment plan options. So for the do it yourself option, there are 3 payments of $167. That will get you your $497 course. And then the VIP instructor led is 3 payments of $167 for the do it yourself for the $497. And then you have 6 payments of $167 for the VIP. So we can, there is a payment plan as well. And we do have some full pay bonus. We do have a bonus for you if you pay in full. So if you pay in full for the do it yourself for the $497, or you pay in full for the VIP $997, there's going to be some bonuses for you as well. So this is the link, and we will also drop that in the chat as well. This is the link for you to go ahead and get started. And this is what it looks like. So when you go to the page to enroll in our course, this is what it's going to get, a couple of slides just to show you what it's going to look like so that you know that you're in the right place. And it's going to explain what we've talked about tonight. You're going to see some testimonials. You're going to see a little bit about Linda and myself. You're going to see all the bonuses that we talked, so you'll get more information on the bonuses. And then this is what the checkout looks like. You can pick which either option that you want. You can choose a payment plan, or you can choose the full pay option as well. And so once you enroll, you'll get a welcome email that will look similar to this. It will have all your login information in. It will have everything that you need to do to get started. And This is what our hub looks like. We have a Your Nurse Advocate Academy, which is our learning hub. And so it is a website. It's a hub. It's all confined. This is where you will find your courses and your lessons. There's a community here, unlike a Facebook group. This is a private community within our hub. It is not accessible to anybody unless we give them permission. So you'll be talking, you can communicate with other students here. You can ask questions for Linda and I. There's a support tab here. And you'll get more instruction on this. There's a instruction video, but I wanted to have you see what your hub would look like. And when you click on your modules, this is what it will look like. You'll click on them, it will open it up, and then you'll have access to all your PDFs, your videos, and all your instruction materials. Here's an example of one of the videos in module 1 that will be ready to go. Again, this is just another view. When you get into your lessons, you'll have videos, and on the side, you'll have attachments, and that's where you'll find your PDFs and your guides. So, Fast Action Bonus for those joining live today, we do have another guide for you, the 10 Steps to Caring for Your Aging Parent, which includes our 11 signs your aging parents may need help in the home. And again, we're sharing our link here. This guide completes everything you need to confidently take the first step into caring for your aging parents, from recognizing, when they need help to what your resources are. So for those of you that register by midnight tonight, before it turns into March 13th, we will include this Fast Action Bonus for you. We have another bonus. If you choose the full pay option, we are going to give you our bonus, Hiring a Private Caregiver versus an Agency Caregiver, the pros and cons. This is valued at $297. Again, it's both a guide and a checklist that goes through what are the pros and cons of hiring a private caregiver versus an agency caregiver. Sometimes there's not a wrong or right answer, depends on your situation, but we want to make sure that your eyes are wide open when it comes to knowing what your choices are and how to make the best decision. We do have, and there's a link also on our page we do have our 30-day money back guarantee that for our refund. You have to complete at least 4 weeks of the modules and be active in the course. And if you think that for some reason it is not working for you, then, we will discuss with you getting your that 30-day money back guarantee, but you have to at least participate. We have to at least know that you're trying before we can determine that it's not working for you. But there's a link to, and that will explain everything in detail there, but we do offer that. You're going to create a personalized care plan tailored to your family. You're going to be able to make confident decisions about your parents' care. You're going to say goodbye to second guessing, and you're going to feel in control. Faster collaboration with your family, navigate tricky conversations, and feel supported, and actually be able to get our input from Linda and myself on your individual plans. Clarity, empowerment. We've gone over several of these steps, transforming your caregiving. Your toolkit is ready. Our course is ready for you. Again, just to run through real quick, last time, what the cost is. Do it yourself, $497. Payment plan, 3 payments of $167. Full pay for the VIP do it with you option is $997, or 6 payments of $167. And if all of this if all this program did was help you craft a caregiving plan and reduce the stress and bring clarity in your role, would it be worth it for you? If it would give you the confidence to make tough caregiving decisions and, give you the peace of mind and the time to be able to do the self-care, would it be worth it for you? If this program were to show you a faster way to improve the teamwork for your family, strengthen the relationships with your family, would that be better? And would that be worth taking the course? And if all the program did was equip you with communication skills to calmly handle sensitive conversations about finances and care, would that be invaluable to you? And also, if all the program did was connect you with a supportive community of people who truly understand, they're in the trenches with you, they're in the weeds, wouldn't that be amazing to have a circle of support to be able to support you and encourage you on your journey? And we talked about, I'm not going to go into this case study right now. We talked a little bit about Brad and his family. In the sales page where you register, there is a video where you can see, but this was, Brad and his family was the story that we told about the mom breaking the ankle in the shower, going to the hospital, and ending up in intensive care. And that you'll be able to access that video. Linda shared, a little bit about, Linda, is there anything that you wanted to bring up on a case study real quick as we wrap up?
I think basically it's, caregiving is very difficult. We want to make this journey easy for you. No family is perfect. Every family has their challenges, mine included. I would love to share more of it with you as we go through this journey together and work through your family's journey through caregiving. And then from my experience with my own family, maybe give you some nuggets of knowledge in regards to how to work through some areas.
Whoops, I think I skipped one. So is there anything holding you back? Think about what might be holding you back. I'm not sure I can afford it. We've talked about the payment plans. I don't have enough time to commit to the program. You will have the program for as long, a lifetime access. As long as we are in business, you'll have access. So if you need to walk away, or you have it and you can't finish it all, or you've got time to be able to work on it as you need to. What if I don't see the results? Well, I think we understand the fear of trying something new and not seeing a return, but the program isn't just information, it's actually guidance that has already helped countless families, like Brad's and like our other clients that we've talked about. So if you put in the effort, I think you'll see real results, whether it's reduced stress, better family collaboration, or being fully prepared for care challenges for your loved one. And what a fear might be, I'm overwhelmed and don't know where to start, and that sense of overwhelm is really exactly why we created the program. I mean, you'll start with a clear, step-by-step roadmap that breaks everything down into simple, doable steps. We break down each module into lessons. So for example, module 1 has 6 lessons. So we try and break it down into bite-sized pieces so it's not so overwhelming. And you don't have to figure this out on your own. I'm not sure this is right for my situation. Well, every family's caregiving journey is unique. Linda and I could tell you countless stories, and not one of them are going to be the same. But with our templates, our tools, and our strategies, you'll be able to apply this to your family, tailor the need to your family's needs, and in regards to your loved one and also your family dynamic. So we're really here to guide you no matter what your specific challenges are, whether you're an only child or have several siblings or long distance, this program can meet your needs. But, oh, excuse me, finally, we're going to drop the end of state of the end bonus into the chat now. For those of you that hung out with us, we really appreciate you staying with us. It's been kind of long, but again, you can see how much information is here and the depth that we can go into to get into studying and becoming a good advocate for your aging loved one. So those of you that enroll by midnight tonight, we've got the 10 steps to caring for your aging parents, which includes that worksheet for the 11 signs that you may need help in the home. And we've gone through this quite a bit, so I don't think that we need to go on again. Remember your bonuses. The bonuses are all listed in the registration page. Your bonus, the Senior Care Summit, the 34 videos, the bonus 2, how do you choose a nursing home or assisted living? The bonus 3 for our VIP do it with you option, the $9.97 option. We have the family 1 pay bonus. And there are the prices again, also listed out in your registration page. And the value again, we've gone over this many times. And last one more time, what it costs, so everybody's clear on that. And we invite you to really come and join us. We appreciate that you've stayed. We've got the links in the chat for you. We're going to go into just a short Q&A period. We'll keep the fast action bonus going to the end of the Q&A. Please share your questions in the chat. Some questions, we're going to stay on to answer some of the questions and give you an opportunity to answer your questions. And with that being said, with the Q&A part, I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording. And so we will not have the recording on, or the questions, the Q&A on our video in case someone has something personal that they would like to share. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording.